This is You've Already Been Hacked, recorded on 19 September 2020. This week, we have governments striking back against hackers, we have schools still being attacked, and an update that may let you know if you've been compromised. Let's get into it. The DOJ has charged 7 in connection with multiple cyber attacks. For years, a group of Chinese hackers known variously as Barium Winit or APT-41 have been carrying out unique mixes of sophisticated hacking activities that have kept cybersecurity researchers guessing and trying to find them. At times, these group has appeared focused on the usual sort of state-sponsored espionage, and they're believed to be working in the service of the Chinese Ministry of State Security. 5 Chinese hackers have been accused of a sprawling scheme to break into the networks of hundreds of global companies in a broad range of industries. Things such as think tanks, universities, foreign government agencies, and the accounts of multiple Hong Kong government officials and pro-democracy activists. The victims are located in a dozen Asian countries, as well as the United States, France, Australia, the United Kingdom, and Chile. The DOJ says that hackers employed by a company called Shenzhou 404 Network Technology allegedly hit dozens of private companies to steal millions of dollars, sometimes using ransomware schemes or cryptojacking, which is malware that exploits compromised computers to generate cryptocurrency. The charges mark the second time in just 2 months that the DOJ has charged Chinese hackers with a hybrid collection of state-sponsored spying and cyber criminal activity. But wait, there's more. The Chinese has charged Iranian hackers that have been allegedly causing mischief. The U.S. has filed charges and is seeking the arrest of 2 Iranian nationals believed to have been carrying out cyber intrusions at the behest of the Iranian government and for their own personal financial gain. In an indictment unsealed this past week, prosecutors accused 2 individuals from Hamdan, Iran, of launching cyber attacks against a wide range of targets since at least 2013. Past victims include several U.S. and foreign universities, a Washington think tank, a defense contractor, an aerospace company, a foreign policy organization, non-governmental organizations, nonprofits, and foreign government, as well as other entities the defendants identified as rivals or adversaries to Iran. Most of the targets were located inside the United States, Israel, and Saudi Arabia. Prosecutors believe that the individuals shared stolen data with the Iranian government, probably the intelligence agencies. The individuals have not been arrested yet, but the FBI has put them on their wanted list. If arrested and found guilty, each of them faces more than 20 years in prison for their crimes. Hold on, the DOJ is not done yet. Also this past week, the Department of Justice charged 3 other Iranian hackers for their role in a campaign intended to steal critical data related to the United States aerospace and science, technology, industries, and resources. This marks 3 times in the past week DOJ has charged Iranian cyber attackers. The 3 individuals are all residents and nationals of Iran and allegedly participated in a coordinated campaign of identity theft and hacking on behalf of the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard, or IRGC, a designated foreign terrorist organization. The indictments allege the campaign ran from approximately 2015, that summer, probably about July, until at least February 2019, and targeted numerous organizations in the U.S. and abroad. Defendants at one time had a target list of more than 1,800 online accounts, including some belonging to organizations focused on the aerospace or satellite technology industries, as well as international government organizations in Australia, Israel, Singapore, the United States, and the United Kingdom. The information they typically stole included confidential communications related to national security, foreign policy, intelligence, non-military nuclear information, aerospace data, human rights activist information, victim financial information, and personally identifiable data, as well as intellectual property, including unpublished scientific research. Complementary to this, the U.S. Department of Treasury's Office of Foreign Asset Control this week also imposed sanctions on the Iranian attack group APT-39, which included 45 people and one front company. The Iranian government employed a years-long malware campaign to target Iranian dissidents, journalists, and international travel companies, according to the Treasury's disclosure. The front company, Rana Intelligence Computing Company, advances the goals of Iran's Ministry of Intelligence and Security, or the MOIS, by launching cyber attacks and malware campaigns against perceived adversaries, including governments and individuals. Under the guise of Rana, the MOIS has played a key role in Iran's abuse and surveillance of its own citizens, according to the report. And there's one more thing the DOJ did this past week. The Department of Justice has filed charges against 2 Russian nationals for orchestrating a multi-year phishing operation against the users of 3 cryptocurrency exchanges. The 2 suspects stand accused of creating websites cloning the Poloniex, Binance, and Gemini cryptocurrency exchanges, luring users onto these fake sites and collecting their account credentials. These phishing operations began around June 2017. U.S. officials said that the Russians are residents of Voronezh and Moscow, and each used the stolen credentials to access victim accounts and steal their Bitcoin and Ether crypto assets. In total, the United States estimates the victims in the hundreds. Court documents have cited 313 defrauded Poloniex users and 142 Binance victims and 42 Gemini users. Losses are estimated about $17 million US. According to a recorded press release this week, the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of California said that the 2 Russians face up to 59 years in prison for their crimes. Across the Atlantic, German authorities are investigating the death of a patient following a ransomware attack on a hospital in Dusseldorf. The patient, identified only as a woman who needed urgent medical care, died after being routed to a hospital in the city of Wuppertal, more than 30 kilometers away from her intended destination. The hospital in Dusseldorf was unable to receive her as it was in the midst of dealing with a ransomware attack that hit its network and infected more than 30 internal servers last week. The incident marks the first ever reported human death indirectly caused by a ransomware attack. If the ransomware attack and the hospital downtime are found to have been directly at fault for the woman's death, German police say they plan to turn their investigation into a murder case. According to the German news outlet RTL, the ransomware game has withdrawn its ransom demand after German police reached out. The hospital has since received a decryption key and is restoring its systems. Hackers are launching fresh attacks against universities. Cybercriminals are increasingly targeting universities with ransomware attacks, and academic institutions are being urged to make sure their networks are resilient enough to protect against them. Week after week, I have reported story after story across the United States and around the world of each university being pounded on, or each school district being pounded on ever since remote learning came in place. The warning this time comes from the UK's National Cybersecurity Centre. It is the cyber arm of the General Communications Headquarters Office. And it comes following a recent spike in hackers targeting universities with ransomware attacks during this past August. In some instances, hackers have not only demanded a significant Bitcoin ransom for their victims, but they have also threatened to leak stolen personal data of students if they are not paid. The targeted ransomware attacks have shown common attack infection vectors, including remote desktop protocols, phishing emails, and software, as well as hardware that has been left vulnerable due to the lack of security patching. Mitigations against ransomware attacks that universities are being urged to adopt include effective vulnerability management and patching, securing those RDP services with multi-factor authentication, installing antivirus software, and ensuring staff and students are aware of the risk posed by phishing emails. This is a consistent drumbeat, and this is nothing that's uncommon. Now that we have more and more people that are being forced into a consistent, connected way to do business, it's even more important that we teach each other what we need to do to raise the difficulty level so it's harder for our attackers to get in. However, in our next story, ransomware attacks have disrupted online learning for a California school district. A different sort of virus or ransomware has taken down the computer systems at the New Hall School District, forcing a shutdown of distance learning for some 6,000 elementary school students. The attack happened last weekend and disabled the district's server and email, which affected all online learning in the district's 10 schools. The superintendent of schools informed parents that this past Monday, they would be treating that day as a non-instructional day for all students, and the district was working on a solution. Later that evening, the district used its Instagram to announce a return to pencil, paper, and textbook learning that included 180 minutes of activities for preschoolers and kindergartners, 230 minutes for first through third graders, and 240 minutes for fourth through sixth. I guess they had to go back a couple decades in order to make sure they could actually get the work done. Moving over to the East Coast, Fairfax County, Virginia school system has suffered a ransomware attack. Fairfax County School District is the largest school district in the Baltimore-Washington metro area and has a budget of about $3.1 million approved for 2021. It also has over 188,000 students and approximately 25,000 full-time employees working in 198 schools and centers within that northern part of the Commonwealth of Virginia. The exact date of when the ransomware impacted Fairfax County schools is not yet known, but the school district says it's collaborating with the FBI to determine what ransomware gang is behind this attack. Fairfax County may know who's behind the attack, but they have not released the identity of those operators. But it did say they are known for dozens of attacks on other school districts and enterprises. The attack on Fairfax County was already claimed to be the Maze ransomware, who has already leaked about 2%, or roughly 100 megabytes, of what is claimed to be stolen from the school district. The data leaked by Maze contains information on some of the school district students, as well as administrative documents and what looks like an LSAS dump that can be used to extract Windows credentials. Maze ransomware is the one behind the new ransomware tactics of stealing victim files before encrypting systems and using them as leverage to pressure the victims into paying the ransoms. Maze are known to be behind numerous high-profile attacks, including ones against cyber insurer Chubb, Canon, business giant Xerox, LG Electronics, Conduent, IT service giant Cognizant, systems on a chip maker Max Linear, the city of Pensacola, and Banco BCR. Moving away from the education sector for a moment, 2,000 e-commerce sites running Magneto were hacked this past weekend. So, the 2,000 e-commerce sites running on the Magneto platform were compromised by attackers who installed malicious code to log payment card data. Most of the hack sites were running Magneto version 1, which is no longer supported. Magneto version 1X reached end of life at the end of June 2020. The attacks were a typical mage card scheme where attackers breached sites and then planted malicious scripts inside the store's source code. The code then logged payment card details that shoppers entered inside of checkout forms. There's some good news though. Since November of 2019, when Adobe started urging Magneto owners to migrate to their newer branch, the number of Magneto 1.x stores has gone down from 240,000 to 110,000 in June of 2020, and is even lower here in September to approximately 95,000. So, you only have 95,000 potential places to go to get hacked on the MagnetoCart platform. The pace is slow, but it is believed that many of the stores that haven't been updated are most likely abandoned or have very low user traffic. The Department of Veterans Affairs has had a breach that has the potential to affect 46,000 individuals. The department detected the breach of a payment processing system managed by the Financial Service Center after perpetrators were able to use social engineering to trick users into giving their secure access information. The hackers were then able to use those credentials to gain access to the systems and charge billing information to divert payments to community healthcare providers. While the hacker's primary goal seems to be monetary, the personally identifiable information for some 46,000 veterans was exposed in the process. Compromised information included veterans' names, social security numbers, and the claim number being processed, according to the VA. VA officials declined to answer additional questions about the amount stolen, whether the compromised credentials belong to a government employee or contractor, or provide additional details about the nature of the social engineering attack that took place due to the Inspector General's ongoing investigation. The Office of the Inspector General for the Department of Interior reports details on wireless network security problems. According to an audit report from the Department of Interior's Inspector General, the department did not deploy and operate a secure wireless network infrastructure as required by the NIST guidance and industry best practices. Penetration testers were able to access the DOI's internal wireless network with a smartphone and about $200 of equipment stashed in a backpack. They were able to intercept and decrypt traffic. To test the hundreds of wireless security networks at DOI, IG investigators surreptitiously used cheap hacking tools from publicly accessible areas to intercept and decrypt communications in multiple bureaus. They found systemic weaknesses in the department's security that a malicious hacker could have exploited to steal data. In these mock attacks, which weren't noticed by either physical security guards or IT staff, all activities were highly successful. In one instance, investigators conducted an evil twin attack, which used a rogue wireless access point to trick devices into sending the data there. In another, the IG penetration testers were able to go beyond the wireless network at two of the department's bureaus and into the internal networks, so they jumped the air gap. And finally, something that gives us just a small little bit of hope. iOS 14 has added data breach notifications. Apple has released updates for iOS and iPadOS, as well as tvOS and watchOS. With this release of iOS 14, Apple will now check your stored credentials against a list of known data breaches. When performing this check, iOS uses strong cryptographic techniques to regularly check derivations of your password against a list of breached passwords in a secure and private way that doesn't reveal your current password information, even to Apple, at least according to Apple. If an account has been detected as breached or uses any easy-to-guess password, a security recommendations option will appear in your settings menu. If your accounts are just using easy passwords, the number in this box will tell you how many accounts have issues. If there is a red exclamation sign as shown in pictures found online, then that means you have an account that has been compromised in some manner and needs immediate attention. If you click on that security recommendations button, you will be brought to another page that lists all of your insecure passwords. This might be something anyone with an iOS device will want to check out, of course, once you've done your updates.